going, everybody? Welcome to the Nick of Time podcast. It's going to be a good one for you. You have a great guest. Unfortunately, my co-host, Miss Georgia, she couldn't make it. She's feeling down, feeling bad, feeling sick. But we have a very special guest for you guys. A good friend of mine. We go way back by the name of Cody. He we met through, I guess, just growing up and like the church and different avenues, but he's a good person, has a lot of life experience, and we're about to get into it. So if you can introduce yourself, man, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Cody Valenzuela. I'm the head boys cross country coach at Odessa High School, and I also own a small little business. It's a mobile wash business. I do it on the side, kind of help some extra money coming home. So yeah, I have a wife. I have a 17th month old. He's crazier than ever. So that keeps me busy all day. And then we just bought our house last year, and man, it's a nonstop job. It's like you come home from your job, and then it's nonstop again. But you just always trying to improve your life or something. And my wife used to call me never satisfied Cody. So yeah, I just always there's always something to improve on. And I mean, I don't read a lot, but I'm YouTuber. I do it yourself kind of person. So whatever I can learn, that's what I try and do, man.
No, I love that, man. That's really dope. Before I start asking you specific questions, you talked about being married and obviously being a father. I remember going to your wedding, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I was a senior in high school, and I don't wanna say it was like the main reason, but that night was like the tip of the ice. A lot of people, and I don't think a lot of people know this. I don't think, I don't think I've, I don't think I've told many people, but
Really? Oh,
the night of your wedding was the tipping iceberg for probably one of the biggest decisions I ever made in my life. And that night of your wedding, when you and your wife were talking about each other, that was the night I decided that I was gonna join the Air Force. Like
shut up.
I had already like kind of was like I'm gonna do this, but like confirmed it, like this is happening. It was that night. And that night I actually like typed in my notes on my phone. I'm not kidding. This is gonna blow your mind. But
No way.
I can show you the date. I don't know if you can see it because of the light. But do you see the date on top?
Yeah, January. Dang. What,
Right.
man.
So I'm about to read this, right? Let me see the
Okay.
date. January 20th, 2016. This was at 9:21 p.m. And this is no joke. Obviously, I don't know if people can see in the camera, but the date and this little notes thing. So I went to a wedding recently. I'm talking like to myself when I'm typing this.
Yeah.
I went to a wedding recently and listened to the couple talk about each other. Was probably one of the most beautiful things I've uh had the pleasure to listen to. I knew the groom uh growing up, and I told myself I'd do anything to keep that love together and make sure that they were safe and protected. Secondly, I always gave a little bit deeper meanings to the things that most people don't do. And thirdly, I was always the type of person to want to be a part of something um, far greater than myself. And I didn't think there was a higher honor. And all this added up in my head, and I just went for it. And
Wow.
that was it. That's
Dude,
crazy.
that's insane. Like, like that's crazy. That's super crazy, man.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And like I said, I don't think I've ever told anybody that. And not that like I was like reluctant to or didn't want to, but it just kind of never happened. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was just kind of like it was just I think at the time being 18 and stuff, it wasn't what I was supposed to do, right? Everyone was like go play football. And it was on some like this sounds funny, bro. It was really like on some like high school musical stuff. You know what I mean? I was just like no, because like that was like it was like so
Yeah.
forced, and I just I had made that decision and I wanted it to be my decision.
Right.
And I think that's why I never told anybody, because I didn't want it to be, I didn't want my parents to talk me out of it. I didn't want you know what I mean, myself to talk me out. I just wanted a clear head. And after that night, yeah, that's when I was like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, you wrote it down in your notes. Dude,
Exactly, right? Pretty
that's
crazy.
insane. Like I know, like whenever, like that night was, we lived through it. Like we'll like watch the video and stuff and be like, man, that happened. Like that really happened. And then like it'll just zoom through. And then the night where it was just like dancing, like it was like just a lot of fun. Like man, it was a memorable night, but it happened so fast that like
Yeah.
how the couple really, like they leave at like 10 or 11. We were there till like 1:30. I'm like, what happened? Like we just had a lot of fun. Like our family was there, friends were there, obviously, and man, it was just crazy. And now like here we are, 6 years married, and like it's crazy to think about because you don't expect things to happen the way they do, and you don't expect things to go a certain way. A lot of times you just, it's quick decisions sometimes. And for your decision, it sounds like it was like built up, and the
Yeah.
way you did it for you was just like the perfect way. Like because
No, for
like
sure.
even my kids at in school, man, I tell them, live your life to the fullest, because as soon as you become an adult, like things become real. You don't have decisions made for you. Like those decisions are yours. And
Mm.
one of them is funny thing. I went viral on TikTok, and
Yeah, I seen that, by the way.
no, you did it. Oh, stop.
Yes, I did. I'm hip. You know what I mean. I've been in the game a little bit.
Well, one of my students, the girl that I did the dance with, she was actually enlisting to go to the Navy, and after Christmas break, she was supposed to like leave, uh, and so I was like, man, like you're leaving? Like she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go enlist. I'm gonna go finish school over there in I think Chicago or something. And I'm like, good luck to you. Like that's all I could say. Like, because she's old enough to make that decision, and I'm not her dad or anything, but I was like, whatever you do, always know that you have your parents there, you have, teachers, friends, you have people that support you in any way, in every way. So I was, going for her, and then she like came back like the next week, and I was like, what are you doing back? And she was like, I couldn't do it. She was like, I got on the plane, and she's like, I just couldn't do it. She's like, I got off and I came back, and I was like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. The reason was because, she's making that life decision, but it's okay to say no sometimes. It's okay to pull back and be like, no, I don't want this decision yet. So
Yeah.
the way that she chose it, I thought it was the best way, because she still chose her path. Like she wasn't pressured into it. She wasn't anything. So it was like I felt for her, like you just have that deeper meaning feel for her whenever um it's just like, no, I couldn't do it. And it's because they still made that decision. It wasn't a forced upon decision. It was like her own decision to be like, no, I'm not going to do it. So
And and the crazy thing about that, like, is I would never force, like, like, I don't think I could ever try to convince somebody to join the military because, I mean, one, like I said, it was my decision, and two, like, it's just one of those things that's so life altering. It's like that's something you need to decide on your own. Like, I don't even want to be any kind of influence
yeah.
because I know what it was, when I finally made that decision, and it was like, no, we're not doing that. But
Yeah.
what I will say is, in her, like, response to that, if ever down the line, it's like I joined the military, if maybe not when I was 18 thinking this, but a part of me, and the biggest thing why I'm so happy I did, was because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no
Mm.
idea,
Yeah.
right? But I knew I didn't want to be broke. That was one thing.
For
And
sure.
and to anybody that's in school, I praise you, right? I'm in school too. I'm like halfway done with my bachelor's. I have like 60 something credits left or something like that. So I'm
Yeah,
pretty close. Um,
for sure. Good luck, man. Heck yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. I needed money in my pocket. And I knew, I was like, okay, I go to school, play football, and then what? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And not that like you can't become successful out of that, because a lot of people do. A lot of people do. But it
Yeah,
was just like I didn't see, like no end, like goal.
yeah,
So I joined. So, and especially at 18, right? It's like, how many people do you know, man, that were like, "Oh, I want to be an accountant." Do you like math? No, but it sounds
you ain't gonna be an
nice.
accountant then.
But that's what I'm saying, right? People go to school and like these counselors like, "Oh, we have a good psychology program." Oh, really? Like what's and I understand that there's a need for a counselor. And I'm not knocking that job. I think it's important. And I think a lot of those people, do a very good job. They do their service, their due diligence.
Yeah,
But imagine if you say, "Oh yeah, we have a really good psychology program. We're number 3 in the state, whatever the case." "Oh, okay. What's your degree in?" "Oh, English." So what the like, what I mean? Like, what do you know about taking psychology? Like, and that all that stuff was like running through my head. It's like, dude, it's you and a counselor, and you're 18. The person I am now compared to when I was 18. Like, obviously, you have to make big decisions, but I'm just gonna buffer and let myself grow up a little bit
yes,
before I start making big financial decisions. Cause even though people don't think about that, like school is a big financial
financial
decision.
decision. Yep.
And yeah, man, I was fortunate enough to, try to stay out of debt or whatnot. But anyways, that's that.
No, man.
But
No,
but yet
dude.
I go ahead.
No, I was gonna tell you, like, big financial decision is babies.
Yeah.
Like, they get expensive, but I mean, there's nothing I want to do for them, like that's why I started doing this coach's mobile wash thing. And like there's just I would give everything to this kid, like everything. And so, but then
Yeah.
again, like if you're not ready for that step, you can, there's ways to protect yourself. It's just, man, it's a big financial decision. And a lot of, like, back when we were teenagers, man, we didn't think about it. We're just going to have fun. Like, so
Yeah.
it wasn't in the back of our mind. But man, like, I'm so glad I waited. Like, or even God made me wait, whatever you want to say, whatever the
Yeah.
truth be told. Because there was just there's just no way at 19 or 18 or 17 that I
Yeah.
was able to raise a kid the way I am now. Like, there's no way I could
For
have put a
sure.
roof over his head. There's no way I could have put wheels on the car to be able to take him places. There's no way. So I just,
Yeah.
like, I'm so grateful, like, that time spent, that I was able to grow, and like me and my wife were able to, like, have our time together, to be able to grow. So thankful for that time, because you don't get that. I mean, you don't get that time
Yeah.
back. It's precious. So
Yeah, for sure. No,
crazy.
yeah, man, that's super good. So tell me more about that, man. I guess we could just dive into it. Because obviously I don't have kids. I do not have a significant other, unfortunately. But
Not
like
yet.
not yet, bro. We're still trying to find the one.
It's all right.
But talk to me about marriage life, man, and being a father, man. Like I'm sure a lot entails to that, but everyone has their own little spin on what that means to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like kind of what I said, is just everything I do for him. Like, I gotta, like, I know I have to do it. Like, and I think it's because, like, the way my parents raised me, it was like, hey, you gotta take care of him. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. Like, there's there's a certain standard that I think my dad set for me. And um, I mean, a lot of people can view it and be like, oh, well, he was never at home, or he was always working. But then again, my dad showed me, like, to be a working man. Like, you're gonna provide for your family no matter what. So I was able to see that. And I mean, I know there's a lot of, like, single parents out there, and I'm not bashing them on any way, because they do twice as much and still kill it. Like single women parents, like, they have my utmost respect, like, to the fullest, because there's no way that I could have done it by myself. There's just no freaking way, man. So they have my
Yeah.
utmost respect, and, like, kudos to them, dude. But I mean, just I know, like, I know I work for my family, and I hope, like, I always keep them, I keep looking over it. But
No, you're
um
good. You're good, man.
I just hope, like, I just keep a roof over their heads, food on the table. And, like, there's nothing I'm gonna not do, like, to be there. Like, I'm obviously not gonna do, like, illegal stuff. I'm gonna keep it real. But like I just know being a provider and showing as much love as I can for him and for Jackie too, like just making
Yeah,
sure
for
that
sure.
they're always taken care of. And I hate when people are not smiling. Like I hate it like to the fullest. If we have like arguments or fights, like just about anything that is just common stuff, like we have common differences. So uh, everything
I
that
got
we always talk about.
two things on that. Shout out to all the single parents out there, single moms, single dads, killing it. Shout out to you
Killing it.
guys. You guys are awesome. And then the second thing you talked about, smile, man. I actually uh when I was well, not when I was, but um in therapy, I guess we talked about how like smiling can be like obviously it's contagious, right? That's like the thing people always say all the time. But walking, use like the door,
Hmm.
right? So every time you see a door frame and you're about to walk through it, use that as a cue to smile. Even if you don't feel like it, even if you're having the worst day of your life, right? And the reason why is because you're usually walking through a door, you're gonna see somebody. And when somebody sees you, whether they've seen you for the millionth time or they're meeting you for the first time, right? Your your aura, your
Hmm.
your
Demeanor.
what you
Yeah.
yeah, your demeanor, what you bring out, right, is gonna be automatically reciprocated subconsciously for the most part, right? Obviously
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
grumpy people
Yeah.
and disgruntled people, but for the most part it's gonna be reciprocated. And how powerful is that? That without even saying one single word, right? You
Yeah.
were able to affect somebody else's day and actions.
Yes. Dude,
You
that's
know?
insane. Yep. And like I mean, just like people talk about like the threshold, right? And that's exactly how you're saying it, like the frame and in the threshold, like of a house, of a place, you're coming into, um, the respect in there that you're already bringing in. It's insane. Like, trust me, if I could make a room light up with just when I step in and smile, because I hope people know like I'm a happy person. Like I don't want to be mad. I don't wake up mad. Like I wake up happy as hell, like ready to go. Like I'm just, I don't know,
Yeah.
there's something about the day, right, that just brings in um something to look forward to. And I forgot what we were watching. We're watching some movie or something, and oh, we're watching When They See Us. It's not a movie.
Okay.
Um it was episodes. It was just episode 3 or something, right? And the sister was talking to the brother saying, just have something to look forward to. And man, we just watched it yesterday, but I want that to like portray in my life, like every day, like something to look forward to. Like today I'm gonna, I don't know, try and build turf in the back for like Caleb. I'm gonna do something today productive. Like that's always what I'm gonna start saying now. And I think I'm gonna carry what you just said, is when you walk in the room, man, smiling up. Like I cannot wait. It's gonna
Yeah,
be awesome.
man, it's life changing, and it definitely has helped me. Like, and obviously it's like everything it takes practice. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I would literally look up sometimes, be like, okay, it's a door. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Yeah.
But with that, man, I wanted to talk to you also about your teacher life and being a teacher slash coach, man.
Yeah.
Uh, Tell me more about that, because I feel like that's like one of the most rewarding jobs that is definitely not um rewarding enough. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
the most
Financially.
rewarding job. Yeah, right. Exactly. Hey, little man.
Say hi, baby. Can you say hi? Oh, good job.
Hey, he's so cute, man. He's a
Thanks,
cutie.
bro. So, funny. All right. So I talk about being happy and stuff, right? I'm probably the most hypocritical when I say that, because I'm an ISS teacher, and I have 2 credit recovery classes. Um, so I mean, mainly it's ISS, and so you're like the
And
days.
for the people that don't know, ISS stands for in
Uh,
school suspension, right? Correct.
yes, yes.
Okay,
So in
cool,
school
cool.
suspension, man. So these are the kids that they either get caught skipping, get caught with vape pens, could be like dissing a teacher, like it's a multitude of stuff, right? And so, there's days that I'm like, all right, it's gonna be, it's gonna be chill day. Like, hey, come in. They turn in their phones or they don't turn in their phones, and we have a metal detector, and we gotta like metal detect them like we're at the airport or something. And then I'm like, all right, here's your seat. Write down the rules. Write them down twice. And dude, it's horrible in there. There's like tall stools with little desks, and it's just not fun. Like, I don't know why kids would go and then repeat going, because it's just not fun in there. It's really bad. But I mean, just don't make the mistake kind of thing. Anyway, so you have that, right? And then on a tough day, like you're talking like 20, 25 kids in there. They're all sitting in stools, and they just start talking. Hey, I need you to be quiet. Like, hey, I need you to sit down. Like, it just starts the not anger, but it starts the discipline.
Frustration. Yeah.
And so when the discipline starts, it's like that smile isn't always there anymore. And it could be a double-edged sword, but it's hard. You got to find that balance, because I'm gonna say those kinds of kids, because they're not bad, man. They just make bad mistakes,
Yeah.
And so, like,
Well, can I say something too? I really don't mean to interrupt, but this is
no,
like
go, bro, go ahead.
this is eating at my soul. I think you probably know even more than me, but just like my experience in the military, right? People don't realize, like, especially people from like, their hometown, right? Or in Odessa, or I know people from like Central Valley, like Pittsburgh, because I know people from all over the country, all over the world, right?
Right.
And people do not realize that obviously life isn't fair, right? But growing up, it's not an equal playing field, right?
Mm-mm.
I knew a troop or subordinate I had a couple years ago, who she was sending money to her mother, who was like sick and had cancer,
Man,
but her entire paycheck, like her entire paycheck.
the entire thing.
Yeah. And she would like eat every now and then, you know what I mean? Because she was always like, we'd be like, it's like, why aren't you eating? You know what I mean? She was
Yeah.
like, I'm not hungry, but it was like a lot, you know what I mean? She was covering up for just like sending her money. And eventually we were able to get a humanitarian assignment for her to be like, because she was overseas. So for, dude, you
Yeah.
need to go back home, like the closest base, wherever your mother's at. Like,
To take care of
and
them.
yeah, and she ended up being like her dependent, which is like kind of when you marry somebody or have kids, like
Yeah.
claiming like on taxes. And you get more money for each dependent, and um yeah, like that whole shebang like helped her out, right? But it was like she was like, I joined because I didn't have money. She's like, and my mom's the only person I have, and she's sick. The
Yeah.
only person in my life is sick,
Yeah.
and doesn't have benefits, right? Doesn't have health insurance, and I gotta figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, then you have people that are like, oh yeah, and it's no fault to them whatsoever, right? But then you have people that are like, oh yeah, my family, owns a construction company. I joined because I wanted to travel.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
those two those two reasons for joining are completely different, and there's no fault. No one's at fault, right? But when
Right.
you talk about equal level playing field, right?
It's
Not
not.
having a single parent, you know what I mean, that has to work, or just like raising yourself, whatever. Like, not that all of these kids in ISS are that, right?
Yeah.
But like
But
you said, that the equal like people do not get, especially as kids, the same grace as
no.
they come of age.
And it's hard. And, and it's hard to decipher. I literally have to sit down and talk with a kid and be like, why did you make this mistake? And they're like, well, I'm just missing a lot of school. I have to go work. I have to provide for my family. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I break at that point. I'm like, why did they give you ISS? Like, what is more important? Like, and this is just like life, because school is like, it's just school, right? And then you have life after school. And these kids
Hmm.
are living life in school and trying to live life outside of school, which is still working. And it still has to provide for their family, because some like COVID-19 thing, dad got laid off, mom got laid off. I'm the only one that can work. They're sick. Like I'm I can't, like, I literally can't breathe because it just crushes me. I'm like, how do these kids do it? And they still come to school. Like they miss one day or, couple periods because they had to go home to go feed their mom or feed their dad, like because mom or dad's on
Yeah.
like something crazy. And so I'm like, man, how does a kid do that at that age, 15, 16, 17, bringing home a paycheck, paying taxes, and then still going home to like make food or take care of like they have my kudos too, like I'm like, man, if you need to sleep, you go ahead. Like I like to that point. Yeah, thank you, baby. In that point, I'm like, you do what you need to because your life has already begun. Like
Yeah.
your life is already like beyond school. And like it pains me to say it, but I really hate that like we have to be comfortable with that. Like we have to be like, oh well, no, they have to be at school. Like what? Like do you realize this kid is already having to work? Like where's the humanity in it? Like where do
Yeah.
we stop becoming human or start becoming human?
Yeah, and then you go into like the whole mental health thing, right? Because you have kids raising themselves, 13, literally going on 30, right?
Yeah.
And it's like when you have that kind of situation, I don't think people, especially like just your everyday person, it's like, well, they need to be in school, they need discipline, they need structure. Yes, right? But they also they also need to be heard, to be listened, right? And that's
Hmm.
an aspect of mental health that I don't think people do enough, right? Especially adults when it comes to children. Now, I personally myself, just because of my job, have not been around a lot of children, but I've
Hmm.
had a lot of subordinates, right? And
Yeah.
when, like I said, you go from 18 to like, dude, you're an adult and nobody's gonna treat you like a kid anymore,
Yeah.
right? Compared to when you graduate, you go work at like Chick-fil-A just for college, or wherever you're working. And then like and people know that you're 18, or you work at a fast food or just whatever side hustle you got. People know that you're young. Not in the military. They know that you're young, but dude, you signed your life away, so you're an adult. You're an adult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no one's gonna treat you like a kid. You better come and ready to learn, ready to work, and ready to get after it. And I think that when people nowadays, like they think about like teenagers in high school and growing up,
Hmm.
the mental health side of it is so important that they don't think, oh, why is this person acting out, or why are they so angry, or why is this, or why is that. Like, you have to dig into those problems, because 9 times out of 10 nobody else is.
Yeah.
And that's also if they're willing to share, right? I'm not saying everyone's going to be willing to share, but
Yeah.
do your due diligence, just like with the smile.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence to try to help the next person, especially these kids, because I people are like, life is easy as it's ever been, right? Technology, all this stuff that helps us. I'm like, yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that comes with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, physically labor, yes, life was a lot harder in 1910. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yes, you had segregation and all these like like slavery and all these terrible things, and
Yeah.
life was brutal.
18.
But there's also something to be said about the hardest thing in your life is the hardest thing in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
Yep.
to a 17-year-old girl or guy who, their boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with them, and that's the hardest or worst thing that's ever happened to them,
It's the worst
right?
thing.
If nothing more adverse in their life has ever happened up until that point, that is the worst thing. But we
Yeah.
try to treat it like, oh well, I had to raise myself, and then blah blah blah. Like, yes, but that's your life. You know what I mean? Stop
Yeah.
comparing this person to that XYZ. And I just don't
Yes.
think people do that enough. Um, I don't think people talk about mental health enough, especially for men. I don't think people, because we do it for adults, right? When it's like later on in life, when life is like harder.
Mm-hmm.
But life is hard as a teenager, like you said. All these kids and stuff. I'm really just throwing it out there for all the people listening, especially if you're in the younger crowd. Mental health is real. If you
Yep.
need therapy, if you need help, if you're screaming inside your head, um, therapy is the way to go. Um, and if you need money for therapy, hit me up because if it's for a good cause, I will definitely be willing to help for
Heck
sure.
yeah. Yeah, man. We've in school we actually started this thing. It's called social emotional learning, and it's to help kids become in tune with their emotions and kind of they don't have to display it out. They don't have to talk about it. They don't have to do anything unless they want to. Like it's more of like a student led sharing. And I mean, I've been doing it in my class for this semester because they were more like, hey, you need to start doing this. We need kids to be more on board with school and just with themselves. And I mean, I for the most part, I think it's helping some kids, and a lot it's helping me too. There's just stories on there that we get to like watch and share about. And I've been through stuff, man. Like stuff, it's not as intense like war, like you,
Yeah.
man, like you've been through that. So it's not as intense, but it's still like a mental war. And so there's that kind of thing where I'm trying to get these kids to understand life will always go on, you know and I try to teach them, it's not always about the partying. Like the partying is going to be there, and a lot of times y'all gonna get in trouble for the partying because you're not supposed to be there. Like you're not supposed to be there because of everything that is involved in parties. Like we know what it is, man. Like I
Yeah.
told them I was born at night, but not last night. Like I know what goes on
Yeah.
at parties. And they're like, nah, nah, and then, back in the day it was YOLO, YOLO came out
Oh
the way
yeah.
and stuff.
That's the
So,
motto. You already
yeah.
know.
So, I just tell them, like, I've been there, done that. Like, there's more to life that y'all are just wasting
Wow.
time. Like, y'all are going to actually, like, get to that point of, you don't have that anymore. Like you don't have that connection with your high school friends. You don't have that connection, of going from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You don't have that no more. Like your summer break can either continue to be summer break and you're just working and then you just become an adult from there, or you go to college, or you go to the Air Force, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, whatever, Marines, whatever it is. Like you just like you're basically gonna change. Everything will change when you graduate. And I think it scares a lot of kids because they are used to that 11, 12, 13-year cycle of doing the same thing. And then I asked the question to myself, am I preparing these kids for life?
Yeah.
And I really hate that I can't talk about it more because I think every kid should know how to approach life. Like I don't know how to do taxes that well, but I know like the basics.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how to fix a plumbing or a plumb issue, but I know how to YouTube one. Like I know how to do that stuff where I can work with my hands and I can work with like my brain. Like my brain is smart. Like every kid's brain is smart. They just lack that tool of like, oh, well, how do I do it? And then how do I go from watching it to hands on? And then you just become
And
that different learner.
and a lot of it, like you said, talking about preparing for life is like I just remember this, and I thought it was just like I didn't think nothing of it whenever I was young in high school, but
Mm-hmm.
now as an adult and like talking about it and stuff, I had so much anxiety. It wasn't even funny. Like social anxiety to be more specific, because I was a very social person. I love to talk to people. But
Yeah.
like you know how it is with playing sports and always in the Odessa American and
Mm-hmm.
it's like a lot, but at the time I was just like this is just like well, this is normal. It's not normal. For anybody in West Texas or like Allen, like the DFW schools or Texas high school football in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like Jesus. So when I would walk down the halls in school, like I would just have my headphones in, and unless like you were like my like closest friends, which there wasn't very many, I just like didn't want to talk to anybody because I knew people were coming up to me because they wanted to talk to the quarterback. They didn't want to
Mm.
talk to Nick.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
They were
I
talking
was
to the
just like,
role. Yes.
yeah, I was just like, oh, I was just like, please. I would be kind, I'd be like, hi, hi, like, I'd say hi, but like for the most part, I was just like, dude, please just stay away from me. But this was like all in my head though. I never like said any of this. It was just
Wow.
kind of like, so I couldn't even imagine. And I had great, I mean, I do have great parents who raised me right. I had a good support system. Shout out to my sisters, you know what I mean? They took care of me
Yeah.
and just my whole family in general. But I couldn't even imagine, like you said, we talk about that being behind the curve, like, we didn't have a lot of money for sure, but like, I couldn't even imagine if I didn't even have the ability to play sports because that's not an option when it comes to, oh, I gotta provide for, a younger
Yeah.
sibling or like you said, all the stuff we talked about. So yeah, man. And then like going from that to like preparing for life, like, dude, people are just set up not for I mean for failure, but they're just it's just sad, man, that I think people they don't realize how much you could help somebody like you said, that little small thing that you
Mhm.
try to do and helping these young adults prepare for life because life, like you said, it's gonna come and it's not gonna wait on nobody. And if you're not ready, it's gonna smack you in
Yes.
the face.
Yes.
Whether you weave it or what I mean, you eat it. I don't know,
Weave it or eat it. Yes, dude. So like my cross country team guys, man, like I think is it about 3 or 4 seniors this year, and I'm trying to. I just like whenever season finished and they're going into track, I was telling them like guys, you know, like I was so grateful for our season, because we got second in district and we went to regionals as a team, and I was happy with that. I hope they were happy about that too. I just know that they can do so much better. And so I know the expectation, and that's what I'm trying to get them to understand, because whenever they become fathers, when they become husbands, when they just become single people that are just trying to live life, they're going to have to be the ones to make that move, to make that, okay, what am I going to do next? What am I going to look forward to? And so they, I hope they have learned something just by me bringing around my family, showing them, you know just have not telling them, hey, you have to be a father like when you get out of high school, you have to be married when you get out of high school. No, like you have so many options to explore. Cross country is just something for you to help clear your mind, like go on a jog, work out, like go do something productive in your own body, like because they say like the body is a temple. So you build that temple in yourself, then you can build that temple later on somewhere else. Like you can build it in people, you can build it in little ones, you can build it in your house. Like there's so many different avenues that you can take with it.
For
And
sure.
so, you know,
Yeah, and I think one more thing to add to that, I think when it comes to being a man and like trying to accomplish things, one thing I've struggled with is at least my therapist told me I struggle with this.
I got you.
Is going from accomplishment to accomplishment to accomplishment because I was trying to fill a void of my own emotions. So
Mm.
like you said, the expectations and stuff like that. You definitely want to be a hard charger, work hard, especially as a man, because you're seen as a provider. But don't ever let that, I guess, cloud yourself from dealing with your own head,
Mm.
your own negative thoughts, your own stuff. Because I did that for a very long time, and it bubbled up and it added up to the point where uh it got ugly for me, like
Mm.
emotionally, like in like my interactions with people and stuff like that. That's why I
Yeah.
started going to therapy. So just remember that, guys. It's good to be ambitious, to go after things, but just know the balance in life, because when you're always chasing something and you don't stop and live in the moment and deal with your emotions, it's gonna catch up, and when it does, it's gonna explode like a time bomb.
Yep.
But with that, man, I think we talked about a lot of great stuff. And like I said,
I
I
think so.
usually try to keep these things under an hour.
Yeah.
Um, so what we'll do is like the final two questions that I got, which I think are pretty interesting. Four people, dead or alive, right, at a dinner table. Who are your four people?
Man, at a dinner table. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my man Bruno Mars
Okay.
got to, man. Got to.
Okay.
Um man. So you know that, oh no, not that guy. That guy's kind of intense for me.
So you got some
Man,
soul. You got some soul, Bruno.
yes, Bruno Mars. Gotta love Bruno Mars. Um, I'm thinking about like successful people, but honestly, I would say, he's passed away, but it was my grandpa. Like I always missed the connection because I didn't know Spanish. So hard, man. Like I didn't grasp Spanish at all. Like Spanish 3 killed me. I had to drop that class. Like that's how bad Spanish is to me. But my grandpa on my dad's side, I would love to just, like, if I could just talk with him and know what he knew, throughout his years of living, I would know something to expect and to live away from. Like if there was something that I needed to, like, curve, then I could listen to him and talk with him. I think that's
You're
one thing
you're
that.
you're the fourth person in a row, actually. I've had this will be episode 17, I think. You're the
Mhm.
fourth person to say a grandparent
Really,
in a row. So like simultaneously, yeah. So that's
it's
good, man.
it's crazy true, man. Like you just want to know everything. Like Bruno, just because I feel like he's really cool. Like, like he's just super cool, just
Yeah.
he'd be like
Tonight
so chill just talking.
entertainment, yeah.
Yes, there you go. And then let's see who else alive or dead. I mean, shoot.
Two more. That was you named two, you got two more.
Let's see. Honestly, maybe Ed Sheeran. Like, I like entertainment. Like, Ed Sheeran. Oh my God. Okay, one last one would be Steve Prefontaine. So, do you know who Steve Prefontaine was?
Nah, bro, you're gonna have to educate me.
Okay, so went to the Olympics. He died in a car crash, I think the year before his next Olympics, and I think it was 1971. Uh, don't quote me on that. I might be wrong, but like he was like Bill Bowerman's like streak up to like being the founder of Nike. Like he was the one that was like putting him on the map for everything. And I would have loved to just know what his training strategies were, so that way I could train my kids that way, and we can defeat South Lake Carroll. But that's the that's the
No,
motive
for
right
sure.
now in my head. So yeah, those four definitely would be. Yeah.
That's a good list, man. Quick little story, and then we'll get to the last question. Quick little story about Ed Sheeran. I like Bruno Mars and Ed Sheeran, right? I was in Korea, it was my first base, so this was 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did boot camp all this stuff 26. So 2017, um uh Divide, yeah, Divide had just
Yeah. Yeah.
came
Yeah.
out. And it was a great album, by the way. Shout out to Ed Sheeran. And me and my homie Donnie, we had tickets in Seoul,
Oh
right?
dang.
We had bought like a nice like Airbnb, all this good jazz. Like we were ready. We had the tickets paid for, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And this man, Ed Sheeran, broke his wrist in
Oh,
Amsterdam, which
I
was the city before. It was literally the city before. So he was going from Europe to the Pacific, and
yeah.
Korea was his first stop. He broke his wrist in Amsterdam, right? And we're at work, and I see this like notification pop up for like the Ticketmaster thing, and I'm like, oh, so now But now you got to get a refund for everything. All that. I had insurance on it, right? But I was just so
Yeah.
sad. I was like, dude, I don't want my money back. I was
Right?
like, I want
Like,
to go to a concert, like because you're traveling, seeing Seoul, seeing all these places. Like, dude, I don't care about my money, right? I just want the concert.
right.
But that's a little quick Ed Sheeran story. Never saw him in concert, but hopefully one of these days we'll
Heartbreaker.
see. Yeah,
Heartbreaker,
and
bro.
then the last question for you, man. I don't know if you watch any episodes. If not, that's okay. But hopefully you'll start. But
I
if there's
will.
any, if there was anybody you would like to see on this podcast, who would it be?
Man, so there was one of my friends from the Wild Bunch, his name's Steven Ruiz. He went like TikTok viral. Like I'm talking like over 10 million like followers. Like he got a crap load of followers and he's got like a crap load of likes and stuff. And I I messaged him one time. I was like, dude, like be real, how much do you make? He's like, dude, I can make quite a bit like off just the TikTok. I'm like, dude, what do you do? Like, hold on, wait. Are you like just working for TikTok or like do you do another job? Like, man, it's insane how much like he's just going and he just goes about it, you know? And so I don't know what else he's into. And that would be somebody be cool.
That's super dope, man. Yeah, actually, my cousin, Mark Adams, I think. Oh, he's gonna be mad, but I want to say he's at 15 million. He does TikTok. He lives out in LA. Uh,
Dude, are you kidding me?
yeah,
Dude,
but
that's
he's been,
insane.
and people don't realize like he's been doing it since like 2016, 2015. No, 2015. Because it was
Mhm.
musically before. I don't know if you remember that, but it
Yeah,
was
well,
like
it's
the singing like songs. It was like
yeah, like
mashup stuff,
karaoke kind of
and
thing.
yeah, and then it turned into TikTok, and he's been doing that since 2015. Yeah, and he's killing it, doing it good.
Yeah.
One last thing before the outro, though, you are a TikTok star yourself,
No, I'm
man.
not.
Oh
Man,
my God, what goes through your head when you go viral like that? Was it pretty crazy?
man, so I didn't even want to post it. Like I didn't want to post it. Shoot, like the girl that actually I was talking about
Yeah.
in the story, the one where she was gonna go to the Navy and then she got off the plane. That's the girl. Like that's the girl that, you know, told me, hey, let's do this dance. She's like, you can't do it. I'm like, girl, please.
You're a jerk, by the way, was the song of choice,
I
man.
told her, I was like, we invented that. What are you talking about? I was like,
She
you're
don't know about the crew. She don't know
yeah,
about
she
the
doesn't know.
crew.
She
I
doesn't
remember
know,
y'all
man.
rolling up to the Quintes ready to. Oh, I was like, dang. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, man. So
It was a big deal.
yeah, and I mean like that era of my life I loved so much because it was like cross country, UTVB, all day trip at night, put on my dancing shoes, go dance all night. Like it made my life filled and it was just happy. Like I just had a great time. And it was I didn't like push anybody to like, oh, let's go have a drink, like anything like that, because I didn't find happiness in alcohol. Like I didn't find it. And
Yeah.
so like I just loved to dance. Like that was my, you know, as they say, that drug. Like that was my drug. So, you know, I love dancing. I love doing it. I just, you know, whatever. And then I think the only reason why I went viral was because she fell. Pobrecita.
Yeah.
But nah, she's all right. She got up. She was cool. But yeah, man,
Awesome.
it was a lot of fun, and I love dances like that, and I just want to keep doing them just for the heck of it. I love it.
All right, cool. So with that, we'll outro it out. One thing, can you let people know if they do want to see the TikTok where they can see it? You're at, and then
Yeah.
two, and then secondly, the last thing, it could be short, long, it could be deep, funny, sad, doesn't matter. If there's anything you want the people to know, like any piece of advice, or it doesn't have, like I said, it could be anything at all. Um,
Mhm.
and we'll close out with that.
All right. Okay. So my for TikTok is at Cody Valens. That's CodyValenz. That's my at. And then for one piece of anything, man, just if you feel down, just don't forget like who you live for. You know, it could be, you know, dead grandparents. It could be alive brothers and sisters. It could be just because God wants you here. Like he wants you here to do something, you know, like be able to hear that, you know, just from a baby from the future. Like you never know where your life's going to be. So just know that I will pray for you and I will be thinking about you to keep moving forward, like never to just feel like you're alone, because you know it just happens. Like you go viral one time for just a silly dance, you know, like, or you have a family like that you feel like you never deserve, you know. I'm gonna cry, but it's like you get that blessing and you didn't expect it to happen, you know, and it just happened. You got to find joy in that. You got to find joy in being able to walk through a door and smile. Like you have a smile. God gave you a smile, you know? So it's just, it's that blessing that you need to live for and live through, that you be thankful for every day. So that's what I got to say,
No,
man.
man. Hey, I appreciate your vulnerability. To anybody listening, especially the men out there, dude, you want to be a man, you wanna, you know what I mean? Be tough. I'm telling you, be vulnerable. Now you don't gotta be vulnerable with everybody, but that's the essence in being that true free. Because
Mm-hmm.
that freedom is freedom from your own mind. Always keep the faith. I'll be praying for you guys. I'm so happy to see y'all are doing good.
Thanks, bro.
Y'all are gonna start watching my podcast, please
Yes,
and thank you.
yes,
There's a lot
yes,
of
for sure.
there's a lot of good people that I've had on, and like I said, there's no real theme, right? So if there's I've had people from like military people to civilians to, you know what I mean, and the
Mm-hmm.
topic's always different. But if there was a real like, hey, this is kind of constant, it's the mental health, it's the improvement, it's that optimism, all that good stuff that we talked about in this one. So I really want to thank you, and I think we'll close out with that. This will drop tomorrow, probably around like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. So I'll shoot you a message, bro, and let you know when it comes out. Sounds good.
Yes, and I'm gonna watch. We're gonna watch all of them. I promise. Okay, this is gonna be our new thing to watch. Be like, oh man, who's gonna have next? Like, it's gonna be dope for sure.
Alrighty, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Little man and the wife, I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's night. Again, thank you for your time. I know it's not easy, especially, you know, being a dad and a husband. So thank you again. And thanks everybody for listening. Y'all are the best. So take
Thank y'all
care,
so
man.
much.
Alrighty. Deuces.
Peace.